First question. What things make you feel seen? Like, you as a person.
That's honestly really hard for me to be seen. I think there's like a sense of like insecurity around that, where if we go through like most of our lives not having that, then it's like, what actually does that look like? My own skin fits my skin color. What if my own flesh is a burning skull? What happened between us makes sense if I'm nothing at all. I think I'm someone who likes a lot of time with people, and when I feel like people have time for me, I feel it. And not that we ever know how much time we really have with people, but when there isn't that pressure, like that there's a limit to it, I think it allows me to feel like I can slowly become myself with others, because sometimes that process takes time for me.
Once you've like had the time like to feel more comfortable with people, like they can see you, what things take it to the next level of them knowing you?
And I'm trying to think of the people in my life who I feel seen by, and when like there's like a mutual understanding that we're working within like the context of our unique relationship. So like when people can check in with me and I'm not afraid to like be honest, or like I'm a very emotional person at times, and like when I know that someone can hold space for that, and like hold me accountable to like being healthy with my emotions, to and to feel that like long term sort of commitment, I guess. I feel seen and known, and like less afraid to figure out how to express myself. What if my own skin makes my skin crawl? What if my own flesh is a burden sprawl? What happened between us makes sense if I am nothing. You are all if I am nothing at all.
Where does love fit into all of that for you? Do you feel like being seen and known are like you need those to be loved, or in the relationships where you feel loved, do you have these other things?
That's tricky, because if I was like only feeling love when those sorts of things were present, then I would well, that those things don't always happen, so like I can't equate them to being loved, I guess. I gotta just like trust that like people are there for me even when it feels like they're not, which is part of love, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I don't have a lot of people in my life right now, but I'm not trying to like get too.
I mean, it's real talk. I feel the same.
The majority of my life, I'm just like used to my needs not getting met, and so it's like scary to start to figure out what those needs are, because what if they continue to not be met?
Yeah.
And then I'm more conscious of it. I have a lot of wounds that I'm working through around the ways that like I've been hurt and I've hurt others, and where does love fit into that? If love is like this sort of like ever-present thing that we can know and that like lives through us. Why'd you think I'd put out your fire? Why'd you think I'd put out your fire? Don't you know I breathe in fire, breathe out fire, fire.
So all of that aside, or I guess not aside, because it's just life, how does all of that feed into you living into your purpose, or what does it look like for you to live into your purpose?
I have like short little like moments of feeling like I'm moving towards a purpose. I feel like my purpose is weaved into other people's. Like I feel like I have my own like idea of what I want, and then but it doesn't really work without a context of like other people who are also like doing their thing. I've been in communities before, but they haven't checked themselves. So I've like given myself to these usually like Christian sort of gender role spaces. But I was like down. I was down to like be there because community was so important.
Yeah. And
then you end up like coming out of it with like really disoriented, and so I've had some space from a lot of those situations over the last year, which is probably good for me. You are always on my mind. You are always on my mind. You are always on my mind. You are always on my mind.
Now that you've been hurt by these spaces, what are you looking for? What are the vital pieces that before you go in?
Restoration, I guess. Yeah, I also like ritual and like appreciate sort of like a spiritual side of being able to do life with people, because that's a part of my life. So if I can like share that with other people, or we can all kind of exist in some sort of space, that has always been like helpful for me in my like growth as a person. And I learned so much from like other people's practices, because in community it's like communication is so important, but just because you're talking to each other doesn't mean you're communicating all the time. And when I was in spaces where like people have done a lot of work on their own emotions and how to express those emotions and how to hold space for other people's emotions, and we're all like doing that work all the time, but to know that that is like kind of happening, and like the people who come into the space make the space what it is, but then the space kind of becomes its own and we can enter, and it like is an organism or like ecosystem that we move within, and like one person who's like the center nucleus of the community. I think those sorts of spaces, they're usually they usually exist outside of a lot of normative culture, from my experience.